I'm gonna break pattern here and start by saying it's been years and months since I last drew faces, making me a bit of a clod, but I'm hoping to rectify this.
Hello newcomers and old-timers. I am Scratches, coming at you with a new quick draw. And I'm talking to you like a YouTuber, so you'll like me more, so get settled, because this is the standard formula from now on. Ha 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 ha. Not really. This week I am starting a new project in addition to the comic I'm already working on. It's something I've wanted to do for a long while now, but I haven't gotten around to it because I've taken on too many things at once before, and it doesn't usually go well. But in my recent success with the Blender models, it emboldened me enough to give it a try. So, here's hoping it goes well. As you may remember, I quite liked the Venom movie. While also acknowledging it's very flawed and not a lot like the comics that I have never read. To me, it was just fun to see a live-action Venom on the screen, and I wasn't too offended about how he was portrayed. In my mind, this is just a different take on Venom, and I liked it. But of course, it had me wondering, what's next as soon as I woke up the very next morning? I was too giddy the previous night to care, and realized I didn't feel too hopeful about it. Sony's superhero movies never seem to turn out right, and by all accounts, it was just a happy accident that I liked Venom. So what could be expected from a sequel, particularly one starring Carnage? I immediately pictured the worst, like Carnage with a soul pot or a redemption arc. Ugh. And picturing this made me go so insane I got it into my head I'd know better than the multi-billion-dollar production company wagering money, resources, manpower, artists and actors into this project. Me! The guy who thought Venom doesn't eat people. So I started writing my own sequel, done the way I would have done it. And I'm doing this while the studio is trying to build up hype around their movie. This should be fun. Venom 2018 ends with Cletus about to give Brock an interview, as we all know. But it's left open why Cletus chose Eddie of all people. It suggests Eddie is interested in Eddie for one reason or another, and it could be as simple as Cletus catching an episode of the Brock Report. But what if it went deeper than so? What if Eddie and Cletus know each other? And prepare thy foreheads, cause it's about to get cringy up in here. That's because I'm trying to replicate the feel of the first film. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. As I imagine it, Eddie and Cletus met each other when they were both still kids. Cletus was a budding sociopath, and Eddie was a disenfranchised teen with a short fuse. And Eddie took Cletus under his wing. But as they grew up, Eddie began to realize Cletus wasn't right in the head, and began distancing himself from him, suspecting him of actually killing people. Until eventually his family moved town and they didn't see each other again for a very long time. Until they met again in New York, where Eddie outed him as the Sin Eater killer, but Cletus was in fact playing Eddie for a fool, and the fallout made Eddie flee New York for Los Angeles. Now, with Cletus back in his life, Eddie's new adoptive brother Venom is worried Eddie will one day throw him away like he did Cletus. And when the Life Foundation uses Cletus to lure Eddie and Venom into a trap, near mortally wounding Eddie, the black symbiote is made to abandon him for a surprising new host, but leaves behind active remnants of itself in Eddie's blood. Remnants expanding and growing. Remnants in need of its own host. I figure if the film would start with that backstory, we could get to know Cletus more intimately than if he's just handed the symbiote without killing anyone, and it'd make him becoming Carnage more significant. Rather than just being told he's really evil and scary, we get to see him being evil and scary first thing. I don't know, but to me that makes more sense. Also, I've heard Cletus' girlfriend Shriek will be in the sequel, but she's nowhere to be found in my abstract. Partly because I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I don't want to clutter this film with too many characters, and partly because the idea of Cletus having a girlfriend seems really odd to me. And it's making me think they're really making a Natural Born Killers sequel. But concretely, what I'm doing here is an abstract. It'll be a series of concept pictures, for lack of a better word, set to me reading the condensed version of the film as I imagine it. There won't be any details like dialogue or scene descriptions, just the gist of the scenes. It'll be just the first paragraph in this first video, but more will come as I make them, and hopefully they'll have a bit more meat to their bones. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you will see me in the next video. Cletus Cassidy was a difficult child, starting fights for no reason and being an overall nuisance. This made the other children despise him, and the older, meaner kids bully him. There was one, though, who took pity on him, mistaking his bullying for being an outsider and not a response to Cletus himself. And that kid was Eddie Brock. Eddie was 3 years older than Cletus and an angry hothead himself, and he took Cletus under his wing. He worried for Cletus because he noticed how angry he could be, and tried teaching him to direct that anger to people who deserved it. But Cletus was incorrigible. What Eddie didn't realize was that Cletus didn't like getting even or standing up to bullies. What Cletus liked was causing pain. Cletus hid this from his best friend, while secretly growing more scheming, violent, and depraved. Torturing animals, setting traps, fantasizing about murdering complete strangers, and Cletus committed his first murder at age 12, shoving his grandmother down the stairs.